Hello, and welcome to my new YouTube series. This series focuses on the Microsoft Fabric DP600 exam and is meant to prepare you to take that exam. So, one of the things that I did recently was I completed a video series on Microsoft Power BI basics. One of the things that I felt was something I could improve on in that video series was the structure. And so for these videos, I'm going to take a very pattern structure. What we're going to do is we're going to first introduce a topic. Second, we're going to provide a summary of a relevant resource to that topic. And we'll link to that topic in the beginning. If it's relevant to that topic, so if it's not a super conceptual topic, we will do an exercise together, or I will provide homework or a task to do on your own. And then finally, I'll give my closing thoughts or opinions on what we're currently reviewing. All right, and as you can see here, I've got some notes. So our first topic that we're covering, which I hope you probably know or are familiar with if you're watching this video, but what is Microsoft Fabric? When I first heard about Microsoft Fabric when it was launched almost a year ago, maybe two, I was pretty confused. I was like, what is Microsoft thinking? Well, this article right here talks about what Microsoft Fabric is and some of the individual components. Okay, I read it. I'm going to link it down in the description. I'd encourage you to read it. You know, the purpose here, or the purpose of these videos, is that they're not meant to be an all-in-one study guide, but that they're meant to be a guide and that you can kind of study along with me and learn Fabric with me. But here are kind of my key takeaways from this article. First, Microsoft Fabric is an all-in-one analytics platform or business intelligence platform. It is a software as a service product, and it is essentially taking a bunch of pre-existing Microsoft services and combining them all onto a single platform. So some of those products are like Microsoft Power BI, which if you log into Power BI, you'll see the Fabric logo everywhere. Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factories, and much more. Some of that stuff you might not be that familiar with if you're working in a data analyst role, but if you get familiar with it, it can really improve your job prospects. The second thing that the third thing that is really important with Microsoft Fabric is that it tries to kind of split out these services by workload or by job profile, but still tries to keep them on the same platform, which is what Microsoft sees, or at least kind of reading between the lines here, what Microsoft sees as the innovation. One key takeaway that I found was that also all of the services on Fabric integrate to PureView, which is Microsoft's data governance platform, which is something that as you work for a large matrix corporate entity, data governance gets really important. You know, if you start having multiple definitions of a core KPI, that can be a real disaster. PureView is Microsoft's solution for that. You don't hear about it that much, but that was one kind of cool point I got from this article. And then finally, the other big thing that I got from this article is the importance of OneLake in Microsoft Fabric. So OneLake is Microsoft's unified storage location for all of an organization's data, and you essentially only have one lake, and hear that one lake, for every single tenant that exists. And a tenant is like, for example, if your business was Business ABC and you were businessabc.com, you would have one single Azure tenant typically for Business ABC. So OneLake would be one single unified platform for the entire business that's on the Azure environment. But within that OneLake, you would have multiple workspaces and then multiple lake houses within those workspaces. And a workspace, or the multiple lake house. What a lake house is a lake house is essentially kind of a collection of files that you can access using like a distributed database software, like for example like Spark or something. But the workspace could essentially be unique to a business team. So like if you had a marketing team, a finance team, each team would have their own space on the OneLake. So you'd have one OneLake per tenant, multiple workspaces, one workspace per group, and then within those workspaces, you would then have multiple lake houses. This whole concept of having one large data platform and then having a section for each and every team or smaller group on that larger data platform is what's called a data mesh architecture. This is something that Microsoft mentions in this article as well. One final thought about OneLake is that you don't have to necessarily bring or copy all of your data in, even though OneLake, when you do load data into it, stores it in Azure Gen 2 storage. You can also do something which is creating shortcuts. So for example, if your enterprise has all of its data on Snowflake or Databricks, you can go ahead and you can connect to it there without having to move it over. All right, so that's been a brief summary of this article. I know that is probably a lot, but hopefully we'll get more fluid with these as we go. I will link this article down below. All right, the next piece of this is I'll provide homework or an exercise, which for this isn't that relevant. I think your homework is to go read this article because there's a lot in here I didn't cover. And then finally, kind of the structure I'll be taking these videos is I'll be giving my closing thoughts or opinions. I already kind of mentioned it, which is, like many business intelligence, or people in the industry, when Microsoft first announced Fabric, I didn't completely get it. Like my thought was, well, I'll use Power BI for Power BI and I'll use Databricks for, my data needs. That said, I have gotten a chance to use it a little bit and, it's cool and useful. I really, the shortcuts piece, I think is a really big value add. And I think I probably underutilized it because I don't know everything about it, which is partly why I am so excited to create this series. All right, well, that's a good stopping place for this first video on what is Microsoft Fabric. If you're interested in following along and kind of studying for the DP600 exam with me, please subscribe. And if you want me to keep on making videos like this, please like. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good evening.